is they say mentioned by the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Today's Arukh HaShulchan Yomi is being sponsored for Shlema and Brius HaNefesh and Brius HaGuf for Rabbi Yonasan Ezra ben Chana Feigel. If you would like to sponsor the upcoming shir of Arukh HaShulchan Yomi or more, please contact me directly. It'd be greatly appreciated. So there's only tough in Aleph, Ches to Chavav. Every vessel we go after most of its usage. For a place which you might occasionally use as a kli rishon on the fire. Since most of their usage is by pouring in shemar aleim kli rishon, you pour on them from a kli rishon. Gam kachu echsheram, even a kli rishon would be machshir them as well. Those who are machmir to also do hagola of the plates in a kli rishon. That's the widespread minhag of English shanos. It should not deviate from it, even though theoretically it should not be required. Because the masses are not capable of distinguishing between this and that. Mishnah Berurah says, nevertheless, if you know that within Meis La'ace, when the Pashturas use chametz in a kli rishon mamish, even though the primary usage of it is normally by pouring from a kli rishon into it or a kli sheni, it requires hakola with a kli rishon tafka, according to everybody. And we use it by if you use it, I'm not sure. If you're doing it being by fire, you need libun. Mishnah says that if you chayshish to use it several times by fire, then you need libun, specifically libun kal. Sharatzion says in the Pri Megadim that therefore a plates made of copper that you occasionally bake with them cake on a oven which is swept out of coals has no takana because the chatchili has to be malab in it and it's going to melt by the libun. I think it's not bedil. I think it's actually bedil. I think it's tin, not copper. Sorry. And the Sefer-based mayor writes that these plates, if you know that they're not b'nei yomon from this usage of baking cakes, we can rely on the first opinion, and it's sufficient with hagola, even l'chatchila. And he said that this is the way to paskin. So I guess that the Paskas like the space mayor that hagola would be enough, even though they were used ala ish in the tanor. But in any event, the bottom line is that we're machmir to do hagola on everything, which is even used for kli rishon. I think what's for kli sheni? Let's see what he says. V'koshken kapos. Oh, one other thing. Mr. Berurah says, nevertheless, b'diavad, rely on the opinion that you can do it each thing according to its own level. I guess b'diavad means if you used it already. The Kohen was not sure about the b'diavad as well. If it's Eina ben Yomo, we can rely on all those poskim for our lenience. If it's Eina ben Yomo, you b'diavad, you rely on those poskim and say that each thing gets kasher according to its level of usage. Continue Arukh HaShulchan. Kapos mazlegim, certainly spoons and forks. Shabei pointing talking is okay, which many times you stick into a pot. Aminag lachmir, and it's machmir gam b'kol kli shtia shekor shinagola. Also with any type of vessel used for beverages, when you can actually do hagola on them, like you don't have to do hagola on them. Even though they're used in cold. Because occasionally they use for hot. And people also soak breadcrumbs in them for 24 hours. The cover shop mutual, and if it's soaked for 24 hours, it's like it's cooked in there. The Yevet Sagli B'Shtiva Bahama. The Yevet is a big jump from Chatchil B'Yevet. It's enough just to rinse it, because now we see men test. Ayin Shamas we shall see further. Yeshua says, first you have to scrub it in order to remove anything which is adherent to it. Then it's enough for shtifa. Yutas Kos Rabbeinu Rambam B'Siv Vav. Rambam writes the course Gedolah Shelo Yuchli cannot least to the Rishon You have big plates you can't fit into a kli rishon. Eat lamb evan mulubon. You should put on them a hot stone. Lamb roast him and pour on them boiling water. Mikli rishon from a kli rishon. Ma'avik kli rishon. It's not in a kli rishon. In kol anything similar. You have evan a kol keli shows magil kulo. You should put the stone on the entire vessel because then you're doing hagolah in its entirety. Quote. Based on have an eye. Maybe the oven, the stone not touched somewhere. Not going to show me a sicha. Then the boiling water touched there. The issue are those that say lo have a kli rishon. It's not a kli rishon. It doesn't work for something which, according to the letter of the law, does require hagolah. The Mishnah says that the Rabbah determined that that this hagolah by using stones only works by a plate, etc. That most of its usage is by irui kli rishon. So the same with most of the usage is as a kli rishon, it doesn't work. This type of hagolah is not effective because it's not a kli rishon mamish. The Mishnah Berurah himself says that even in a kara which is used by irui, etc., you should not be lenient to be magil lechatchila by stones unless it's known that it's eino ben yoma from its first usage. First usage as kli rishon. Sorry. Generally speaking, we don't conscious things unless they're eino ben yoma. You test. Sorry, we're in the middle of this. If the vessel has rims and protrusions, you can't put the stone down. Animal doesn't work anyway. And the day the minute is to heat up white hot many small stones. We know some about mine, and they put them in the water. But other sichos means to go vrimo, and then becomes very hot and boiling. And you pour water on the places, and you also pass that hot stone. This definitely works even in a place where you need alcohol according to the strict letter of the law. Because it gets hotter than the kli rishon, as we see. I've not been so to see it, but evidently that's the case. Whether it's wood vessel, stone vessel, metal vessel, or a bone vessel, dinam lakshiram be'hagolah. You cash them by hagolah. Those who say the kapel says karen elam takon bagolah that spoons which are made from horn cannot be kasher. Since they get ruined in hot water, we're afraid you might be overly concerned about them, and you won't do a proper hagolah. And also knife handles. They're made partially of horn, which I assume means ivory. And also if the handle is glued on, not nailed on, so then it might burst. Near the kogla ilu chumas. Says, oh, these are chumas. If you did it, the hagolah works. The Mishnah says that the hagolah does not work on the glued knife handle, and also it does not work on ivory knife handles. Okay. The salim shemot, so he argues in Arukh HaShulchan. Salim shemochim by my basar, the meat basket which you salt meat. Yesh sichel hagolah, something called hagolah. V'afakav the basar atzma mutter. כמו שאתם עושים טוב ממזין, either meat is mutter. זה משום דאפילו מה יקצץ חמץ במלח, this part on Pesach. That's because if there's even some chametz and salt, it's bottled before Pesach. But the keli, there's no bittul in terms of the keli. Yesh v'shachol the answer hagolah. Those arguments say that you don't really need hagolah. Be involved, and it seems to be correct. It's best, however, to do hagolah or knos chadasha or buy a new one. Yesh and those say lo mahani hagolah klal. Hagolah doesn't work by this basket. The shema yesh ben hakomi chametz bein, because maybe in the holes there it's chametz outright. Mishnah Berurah writes that hagolah does that hagolah de kli rishon can work here, evidently because it's never used ala eish. V'chol l'chatchila. All this l'chatchila with the ebony mochu b'pesach salim shemochu b'hem kol shana. But the ebony, if they use these baskets for Pesach, they use the entire year round. Mutar gam below shem hechsher. It's mutar also without any hechsher whatsoever. And Mishnah says, even though the chametz absorbed in the baskets by malicha, because the salt does not cause whatever's balua in the keli to come out, only what's the dominant, which is balua in the meat. And that's exactly what the Arukh HaShulchan says in the next line. There's no malicha for vessels to get the taste out of them. Also, if you soak the meat in the vessel you normally use to soak it the entire year, and you rinse the meat even after malicha in that keli, there's no concern. Also, you did malicha on the board which you used the entire year. Frying pan. It suffices to do hagola. But those are machmas that require libun. The minhag is to do libun lechatchila. We have it sagi behagola. You have it hagola is enough. I remember many years ago, living in West Hempstead, we took a aluminum pan to kasher Pesach, and Rabbi Kellemer said, if you do libun, that's how. So if you do libun on a pan, the aluminum pan, it gets discolored. And we needed a pan for Pesach for some reason, and he did libun with a blowtorch, and it got discolored. But it seemed to work anyway afterwards, regardless. Okay, so I'm not sure now. Could be that b'diavad, since it was a frying pan, b'diavad, we could have done hagolah. I guess they want to do b'diavad. Okay, the kol hagolah shem yicholos lagil kol kei v'asachas. Anytime you do kashering water, when you can't dunk the entire kli in one shot, they go, look, because it's so large, like a frying pan. You can do half first, and then turn over, go, and then do the second half. And if it's so long, emptying your class, you can't put the middle part in the hagolah vessel, in the kashering vessel. So in the middle, you do libun. And on the sides, you do hagolah. If you do hagolah before the 5th hour, you do hagolah of kli rishon and kli sheni together. So kelim which absorb a lot of chametz, kelim which absorb a little chametz. And all this, and you also, I guess, if you did hagolah and use for matzah, and use it for chametz, you do hagolah again. But do hagolah after the 5th hour, no go. Tamash Rebbe is barba siyad Hashem sim tov nebezu do explain the eximit. Eximit the is a kamba prati. Several details on Yom Shom. Chabez kol hayodah shel kol kelim tzrichim hagolah. All the handles of all vessels require hagolah. Lamishum negam hi bolas mi chametz. Not because it also absorbs chametz. Ein molich bliyasa bekulo, because the bliya does not penetrate everything into the handle. Much like the sim kuv chav. But furthermore, the molich. And even if it does draw a chametz into it, clearly was not clearly rishon al eish this handle. Time the valley keep a yad the mesh shana is a time chametz, but it's rather because the handle must accumulate some taste chametz during the year. But over Pesach you go a matzah, now a matzah will touch it. But if you didn't do hagolah, ain't less over the evidence on problem. It's just a remote concern. Mishra says, yeah, but that's only a generic case. But if you know definitively that you use the handles with hot chametz, then you have to be machshir handles even with the evid. But a spoon you have to do hagolah in its entirety. Sometimes, many times, the entire spoon goes into the pot. This is even with the evid. So knife also he mach b'diavad. Came the Gemara and since in the Gemara they required you to cash the handle, ain't no lokel, we cannot be lenient. Nevertheless, it's for sure the dailios hechshena they irui shmarlionos. It's enough to do to cash them by pouring hot water on the handle. Because because what they absorb in the handles is not even like Irui Rishon, obviously. She said, Mishabur says if you know that you use the handle somehow with as Rishon, then Irui doesn't work even, but the evidence has to be dunked in the koshering barrel or the Kli Rishon. Back to Rishon. Isham to be Evid who Dafka, the Evid is only Shekman Shtamish. If you use it for Pesach. I'm going to Shtamish, you use it also with the Evid, it's also with the Evid, actually Agil Ayad until you do a go on the handle. That's Magen Avram. Then Mukhal Shulchan rejects this. Yesh that there with the Evid, I'm calling the Evid is called even before you use it. Mishabur says that it's Mutzah. No, he says Magen Avram. So Mutzah, if you already use them. It's also use them before you do Hagala on the handles, even if it's Pesach, within Pesach, where you can't do Hagala, and if it's going to be awesome. Okay. A vessel would use entirety. It's also do part of it. You use that part. Mutter. That's okay. See the side which didn't going to go kashering, also it's forbidden. A vessel which has a patch, such as a metal or copper vessel, when there's a crack or a hole, Masimin shall apply, put a patch there, cannot go loy flita belush fly. So now the kashering cannot absorb or cannot remove whatever's absorbed underneath the patch. But if the patch was of molten tin, so you filled it in with tin, ancient Rishas is not a problem. Because then when you put the patch on it, since it's molten tin, you hammer it on, melt it in, that burnt all the Isser out. But a patch you make by nails. You put in that place a piece of metal, the kovin of some asmerim, and you fix it with nails. When she's bar, there are details, nuances. Saying by us, most patches are made by by melted tin. And answer kodim elu. All these also apply to us. Those who make a mistake. But so if you're not making a mistake, if it's the patch is through nails, if the patch came before the Isser was absorbed, you put on the patch when it's still new. Or you did have gall on it before you put on the patch, and so they don't remove that patch now. The imamasha bala biyosa fly love, because it says what was balea when the patch was on it, kibolo kapoto, whatever was absorbed will now be removed by the kashra. Mikon labam before they didn't absorb anything. Imishum shema yeshom the coming time she wants to have some comments. And if you're concerned, maybe there's a little bit of holes between the patch and the vessel, where some crumbs of comments got stuck. You're not clean them out. That's if you're not caring. If you can't clean them out there, taka, and you should put some coals in that place. But if the Isser got absorbed in the pot before the patch, the nails on patch, does a bulush tachas in that case, whatever's absorbed under the patch not come out through hagola. When Yifla comes out little by little. So either you have to move the patch before you do hagola, comes light, or put coals on the place of the patch. It doesn't matter to the point that sparks fly out of there, which is libun. They serve gufa iser to the point you can assume the substance which is prohibited has definitely been burnt in yesh shisham if it's there. And then you can do hagola entire vessel. Those who said the gam even the patch came before the absorption. So I always have to do a light libun on this place. It's rejects it as to be the chumrah. It says that's not necessary. Ikar ladina. That's the primary halacha. Mishmur Sharatzion writes that if it's not ben yomo, then libun kal is enough, meaning that straw burns on that heat. As opposed to libun chomer, which is where nitzotzos, nitozim mimeno, create sparks. Kavhei, the Kalim Yishayim Shechivam B'Bdil Shekorim Vaisin. I'm not sure what this is, but old vessels which you cover with tin. Shechivam B'Orei Deo Feres Muzdoch. The covering takes place with fire by molten lead, which you shouldn't have. Yesh Yechmil Yatzir Gam Agol, those require a go afterwards. Yesh Mishnai B'Libun Zeh. There are those who say that it's enough, the libun which was done at the time that they put on this tin of this lead, that's the primary halacha. Bush says along, but since the craftsmen sometimes do this, make this covering very quickly, and it doesn't get on the entire vessel because they didn't boil it properly to begin with. Therefore, you always have to be machmir and require alcohol. Nevertheless, but yeah, but you use them without alcohol, you don't have to ask for the food, especially when the kli is not ben yomo. And if the craftsman who coated the keli was a non-Jew, then it's appropriate to do bring the keli to mikveh before using it. Like the Arukh HaShulchan, even that coating is libun kal, it's still better than agola. One of the great ancients, the Mizrahi, that this must be the case. Okay, because if not, my will agola, what good is agola going to do? Achipui mafsik ben habalua uben agola. The coating is interrupting between that which is absorbed and agola. It's the case said before where the absorption took place before the patch was put on. Furthermore, Abdil Mafsik, since it is interruption, it's like a new vessel anyway. The bracket says that's what we're going to have from Sham came before by Tasif when you drip a piece of molten tin, Nisa Kapula, everything which is absorbed gets burnt out. So which one this is clear. So alright, Shachom Gadol Gaor Mamish, the heat of the hot tin is like a hot fire. Especially parts of that ben yomam. There's no reason to be machmir. So basking in fact in practice. Chav vav rosh mos umni mosim hakem yeshem osios chalkukos, the marks which craftsmen make on the vessels, and they have like little engraved letters. Ein dinam kivkoyim stuck their law is not like crevices and cracks, the gumos and holes. The law is libun over there, and I see because the maid knew before they used. Chalukim also made smooth and very very small. Yisharim and straight, and the kashim goes through them. Okay, we take karoi if necessary to clean them out properly. Maybe the clothes not crumb, can't clean it properly. Have to put some coals there. Okay, yesh lachtot heitev sabi was neya kills neya. You also have to clean, pick around the handles of a vessel, the Yishem Yishkein Gumas Lakos, because they're like small holes there. And so too, when the handles are connected by nails, like shovels. So you have to dig in, pick in with around the nails, the Yishem Gumas Lakos, because they're like small holes there, and so to anything similar.